So we shall begin with our next topic in fourth module. Basically, if you could remember, we have done almost covered fourth module, but only one topic was left. So let us have a quick recap of the major points or major sections of fourth module, that is analysis of perfect frame. So analysis of perfect frames, that was the fourth module, and in this particular fourth module we started with understanding what exactly a determinate structure, what exactly an indeterminate structure. So the first one was determinate structure, and the next topic was indeterminate structure, and then perfect frames. Yes. So now what exactly an determinate structure is? So determinate structure is the one which can be resolved for all its internal and external loading or internal and external forces acting on that using the basic equilibrium equations. That is nothing but basic equilibrium equations which are resolving the forces in horizontal direction, resolving the forces in vertical direction, and considering the moment. So these three basic equilibrium equations, if only these three are used to deduce the internal and external forces, then those are called as determinate structure. Whereas if these equations, equilibrium equations, if they are not sufficient to solve all the internal forces as well as external forces acting on a structure, then that is called as indeterminate structure. Whereas perfect frames are nothing but, if you could remember the formula, m is equal to 2j minus 3, where m stands for number of members and j stands for number of joints. If the number of members and if the number of joints, when we consider and substitute in this particular equation, and if this holds good, then it is a perfect frame. Now we can also include one more terminology, that it is a stable frame. Whereas if we have number of members more than this particular part of an equation 2j minus 3, then it is stable but redundant. Whereas if, that is redundant, if this particular condition arises, then it is unstable, highly unstable, which leads to failure of that particular structure. Now when we say structure, we were discussing about a simple truss. This is a very simple triangular truss. We can have a little more complicated. A structure like this, where certain external loads acting here, like I'll just name them to be external load W, and these are reaction forces. Similarly, in this particular case, these are the reaction forces. Now when we have a structure, specifically trusses like this, and first what we will try to do is, first we will try to find whether it is a perfect frame, perfect stable, or redundant, or unstable particular case. Now we will try to find this particular case to define whether it is a perfect frame or not. Then in these particular equations, how many known and unknown forces are there, that we will try to find. Now in this particular case, there is one external load given, so this is already given. Now for this particular given load, we try to deduce what are the reactions by resolving the equilibrium equations. Now yes, we can find, similarly we can find the internal loads acting on the structure, on these members specifically. Now internal loads also if we can deduce, then it is a determinate structure. Whereas if we have something more like this, okay, and if it is not possible to solve, maybe we'll include some more elements in between, members in between. Now it is not possible to solve, then that will be indeterminate structure, if it is not possible to solve. So this is nothing but the basic idea at the beginning of this particular module we had. Then when we have a structure like this, which are the methods we may use to solve the forces acting on that? So there are many methods, but restricted to our syllabus, we have two methods which are used to solve the forces, both internal and external. So the first is method of joints. Second one is method of section, that we'll discuss after this. So what is method of joints? This is still a recap for you. We have already done this particular part. But to begin with the method of section, which is very new, I need a basic platform to understand this one first, then we'll go with the second one. So we have, let us consider a simple structure, a simple triangular truss, which is just simply supported on this, not pin joint. Now in this particular case, let us define a load to be W. Let us rename the joints. Let this joint be A, let this joint be B, and let this joint be C. And also we'll try to define what is the angle made between these members. Let us consider some angle theta1, and similarly between these two members, angle theta2. Now what exactly a method of joints is? For a given structure, we will consider each joint. Joint is nothing but a location which connects two members. Now in this particular case, member AB and member AC are connected at this particular joint A. Similarly joint B and joint C. Now we will be applying this particular method at the joints to find what are the internal as well as external loads. So let us consider the first one at joint A. So let's redraw how that joint A appears to be. So this is joint A, which is having an angle theta1 between the member AB and AC. So let us consider the force here to be tensile, which means the internal force in the member is tensile. That's what we are going to consider. So the arrow mark is in tension. That is nothing but PAB. Similarly, here PAC. Okay. Now at joint A, there is some reaction force acting vertical, that is RA. Simple enough? Now, let us try to resolve this particular force, that is resolving horizontally. That is resolving forces horizontally. Now, when we say horizontally, we can't consider this RA because it is acting purely vertical, whereas we can consider this member which is purely horizontal and an inclined member PAB with certain angle. So PAC, which is acting in this direction, plus in the same direction it is PAB, and angle is cos theta1 is equal to 0. Next, resolving vertically. Now for that, we cannot consider this horizontal component PAC anymore. So we can consider RA and PAB again. So Here RA is acting towards the joint, whereas PAB is acting away from the joints. Okay, so RA will be equal to PAB sin theta 1. So if we resolve this, we know RA, that we can deduce here, that is, it is acting exactly at the center. If it is given exactly at the center, then W is equal to RA plus RC. So we can deduce here. PAB we can find, and using PAB we can find PAC. So using method of joint, at joint A we can find PAB, we can find PAC. Now based on this we can assume, or instead of resolving again at joint C, we can say PAC is equal to PAB, PAC is equal to PCA, and PAB is equal to PBA. Okay. Now why we are considering this particular case? That's what makes it, that's what keep the system in equilibrium. It will be stable. If it is not equal, definitely it will be unstable. So once we consider this particular joint, whatever elemental or internal force acting on this particular member is same as in this particular direction. That's what keeps it stable. So let us move to deduce what is the internal load at BC. To find that, either we can consider joint C or we can consider joint B, whichever is simple for you. So here I'll consider at joint C. Now in this particular case at joint C, let us redraw how exactly it appears to be at joint C. So the internal forces will be tensile, that is PCB and PCA. Let us consider this angle theta 2. See here I am not defining what is the length of the element, I am not specifying, but still here PCB, PCA we have, those are elemental forces, internal forces and tensile in nature. So resolving forces horizontally, which is not necessary because we made an assumption PAC is equal to PCA. So it is not necessary, but still let us try to find. So here it is going to be PCA plus, this is again acting away from the joint, PCB cos theta 2 is equal to 0, and we can find what is and then resolving forces vertically. So in that case, here there is going to be RC, reaction force acting towards the joint, and this is away from the joint. So RC is going to be equal to PCB sin theta 2. Now RC will be deduced at the beginning, that is by resolving the external forces for a system. So RC will be equal to PCB sin theta 2. So we will get PCB here. Substituting back into this equation, we will get PCA, or from here we will get PCA. So by solving this equation, we will get PCB as well. So if you see, the external load was given. We try to deduce the reaction forces from the external load without considering its own weight. So we got the external reactions. Then to find internal forces acting on each member, here we have PAB, that is from using joint A we can find PAB and PAC, that is here equations we get PAB and PAC, and PAC is equal to PCA, and PAB equal to PBA. So this element we have resolved. The only element left was this. To find that, I have considered again the horizontal forces, which is not necessary, but by using vertical forces I can find PCB. So I will get BC forces. So this is how we deduce the forces acting on each structure using method of joints. I hope this is clear. Similarly, instead of having a simple structure like this, suppose if we have a little complicated truss, will not have this. Okay, let us consider we have a truss like this with certain external loads W1, W2, W3. Let us define the length of each element as well. So let us define, and also let us define this vertical distance between the joints. Suppose L1, L2, L3, L4, L5, L6. Now what we will do is, using this external loading, we will try to find what is the reaction here. So that is A, RA, this is joint B, C, D, E, F. So we will try to find what are the reaction forces at RA and RF which are necessary. So that will give us all the external forces known. Again we will use the equilibrium equations here to find the external loads alone, considering the complete structure. All the vertical forces equal to 0. That will be forces acting in vertical direction are in equilibrium. Similarly, if there were any horizontal forces, that should be equal to 0 to keep this in equilibrium. Or if there are more number of unknown loads, then we will consider the movement with respect to certain joint, maybe joint D, joint F. For that we need perpendicular distances, so we will consider these distances. So that will help us to find the external forces. Then to find the internal forces, we will start joint by joint. We will start with joint A. So at joint A we have 1, 2 members, and then we have an external load here. So that will help us to find these two, similar to that one. Yes, now if you look at joint B, we have one member AB, another one BC, another one B, and then one external load. In that, only AB and W1 is known, whereas BE is unknown, BC is unknown. We have three equilibrium equations, we can solve that. Similarly, if you look at joint C, we know BC from resolving joint B, we know BC value. So the unknown is BE and BD, whereas external load is known. So there are two unknowns. Using again basic equilibrium equation, three equilibrium equation, we can resolve that. Now if you look at joint D, this particular is known, CD, external load is known, whereas DF and DE are unknown, which can be again resolved. Three equations we have, two unknowns, we can resolve. Similarly, joint F, or else we will consider joint E. We know AE, that is load through AE, load through BE, CD as well as DE is known. EF is unknown, which can be resolved, and there are no external loads acting on that particular joint directly. Now when you consider joint F, EF is known, DF is known, RF is also known, so no need to resolve this particular joint, whereas all the internal members are known. So this is how we start or use this method of joints to resolve all the internal loads as well as external forces acting on a member or on a structure. However complicated it is, if it is resolvable using the basic equilibrium equation, or if the structure is determinate, then using method of joints we can deduce like this. So I hope this is clear. Now, the very important method is method of section, which we haven't covered. This is just a quick recap. So far, it is just a quick recap. Next is method of sections. So method of section is a little different than method of joints, because here we consider certain section in a given structure. That is going to be a last topic in this particular module. Maybe next class we'll begin with the next module, unit number 5. So this is a last topic, method of sections, and we'll try to deduce one numerical, that is one example, how to find. So first we'll understand what is method of section, or why the method of section is required. Method of section is one of the methods to solve all the internal and external loads acting on a structure. Now here we have seen we need to deduce the external loads acting as well as the internal loads in a structure, that we need to deduce. But if the question is, instead of finding the loads acting on all the members, if I specifically say in a question that I want to find, or you are requested to find, the load acting in the member CE only. Okay. If the question is, you need to deduce the internal load acting on the member CE only, nowhere else. Then if it was a method of joints, then what you will do, you will begin at this particular joint or either this particular joint, then try to find the members AB and AE. Then you will apply the same rule at joint B, BC and CE. Then if you go at CE, then there are 3 unknowns and 3 equations that you can directly solve, or you will go to joint C where this is known, 2 unknowns resolvable. Then you will go to, then that will give you the internal load acting at CE. That is what we have learnt in method of joint, but that is time consuming. Isn't it so? Here you need to solve for joint A, joint B, and then go to joint C. Then you will get this particular solution, that is the load acting at this particular member. Now instead of that, if we have a section which is going to cut this particular member, let us try to find. I don't think. Okay. If we have a section 1, 2, 4, okay, 1, 2. Okay. If I try to find, this is just an example. If I consider a section here AA, which is going to cut this particular structure into 2 halves, one is right side part, another is left side part, and if I redraw, then I'll get a structure having only this part, that is a structure like this. Then if you see here, there are members B, C and this one we are interested to find here. So the number of unknowns will be here, like PA, PBC, PCA, PA, then there is one more PBC, PAB. So the number of unknown members are 5, whereas known things are 1, 2, 3, that's all, 3 known loads. To find those unknown 5, it is not possible because we have just basic 3 equilibrium equations. So let us try to understand with one more example. Let us consider a truss. Here, a simple truss. Okay, let us rename this A, B, C, D, E and F. Okay, and if the question is deduce the internal force in member FB? If that was a question, then if you use method of joint, which is again a right method, it's not wrong, but that is time consuming. First you'll start with joint A, then you'll go to joint B, then that will give you the load acting at FB element or FB member. But if you use method of section, here I am going to consider a section AA that is going to cut that particular element which is of interest. It may cut other elements as well, that is fine, but it has to cut that element which is of interest, that is member FB. It is cutting this particular element FB. But compared to this problem, this is 100% solvable using the basic equilibrium equation. Why? Now let us redraw this one. I am just drawing the left hand side of the structure. So this is A, this is B, and that's what we can see on the left side. This is member AB, fine. This is member AF, so I'll rename this to be PAF, whereas this is going to be PBF, whereas this is going to be PBC. Okay, now when it cuts that particular structure, then each element which is cut from that particular section is considered that the force acting on those elements are always tensile. So that's why it is tensile in nature. This particular element BC, it is tensile. This particular element BF, it is tensile. This particular element AF, it is again tensile. Look at the arrow mark, it is tensile. So that is considered. Now, what is the difference between this and this particular problem? Here it has cut 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 elements or 4 members. Now because of 4 members, we just have 3 equilibrium equations to solve. Whereas here, if you consider, if the question was to find the force at FB, then first we'll resolve for the forces. We'll be knowing RA, whereas the external load we cannot consider, that's on the other part of the equation. Now resolving for the forces vertically, that is nothing but which all the forces we consider here. RA, which is an external force. PFB, it's an external force now, it's not an element. PBC and PAF. We will be knowing what is the angle between those elements. Then using the equilibrium equations, we can find PFB, PBC and PF. In this particular case, even the third equilibrium equation, that is movement, is not required. Only resolving the forces vertical and horizontal will give us this force. That is nothing but, let us resolve vertically. So when you consider resolving the forces vertically, so when you resolve the forces vertically, in this particular section, this is a complete section. It is not a particular joint now. I am not considering only this particular joint or this particular joint. I am considering all the left side section of the structure. Now all the forces which are acting upward, I will consider that to be positive. All the forces which are acting downwards, I will consider that to be negative. In that particular case, this particular element PAF, that is acting horizontally, which is not considered. In that case, RA, which is acting vertical, positive. Then PBF or PFB, which is acting inclined to downwards. So that will be negative. And let us consider some angle here. Angle with respect to the vertical axis. Let this be theta, or let us define that to be theta 1. I am considering with respect to vertical axis Okay, will not confuse. We'll consider with respect to horizontal itself. Let this be theta 1 with respect to horizontal axis. This is theta 1. Okay, enlarged angle so that you can see it. Now for PFB, which is with respect to horizontal, we are resolving forces vertical, then PBF sine theta 1, which is acting downwards, then PBC, let us define that one as well. Let this be theta 2. That is nothing but this is theta 2. So that is acting upward, so it will be plus PBC sine theta 2, which should be equal to 0. Okay, we will try to understand again what we have done. We are trying to find the forces acting at the member FB using method of section. For that, we have considered a section AA going through that particular member. So it is going to cut the particular structure into two halves, one on the right side, another on the left side. I am trying to find on the left side to keep it simple, because less members are there, less joints are there. It will be simpler for me to solve. So when I consider on the left side, this member here, it is going to cut member BF, it is going to cut member BC, it is going to cut member AF. Once it cuts, then I am going to consider that particular section alone, in which RA is going to be external, PFB, that is going to be external force, PBC and PAF. Now resolving only with respect to these forces. See, here I am not considering PBA or PAB. Okay, that is going to be an internal force that I am not going to consider, whereas rest all the members I have considered. Now once I consider that, resolving the forces vertically for that particular section, not for the joint, for that section. Now RA is acting upward, PBF, it is inclined down, so that will be negative with an angle theta 1. So PBF sine theta 1 plus PBC, which is inclined upward with an angle theta 2. So PC sine theta 2, which is positive, which should be equal to 0. Now here this is known, RA is known, PBF is not known, PBC is not known. Now next, resolving forces horizontally. If we resolve the force horizontally, then here let us consider if the force towards right is positive and if the force acting towards left is negative. In that case, PAF is going to be positive. We cannot consider RA because it is acting in vertical direction. So PAF is positive. Then we need to consider PBC, which is again positive. So plus PBC cos theta 2, which is positive, plus PFB or PBF cos theta 1, which should be equal to 0. Now in this we have three unknowns. All the three are unknown, and so total using these two equations there are three unknowns and we have just two equations, so which is not possible to solve. So let us continue using the third equilibrium equation. I'll just let this be a numerical, I'll put that in a box. That was the problem. Resolving forces considering movement. Now see, movement with respect to which point we are going to consider here. So let movement with respect to point A, movement with respect to A. In that case, the load RA is acting at A, we cannot consider, or PBC, which is not perpendicular PAB, we can find. Okay. Now here RA is acting at joint A. There is no perpendicular distance, so movement due to RA is 0. Next, PAF, which is acting from the joint A. So again there is no perpendicular distance, so movement due to PAF is 0. Now next, PBF, which is acting at joint B, which has some perpendicular distance. So there is a perpendicular distance, let us define that to be x, and that is going to give a clockwise rotation. Look at the force direction and the point at which the movement is considered. So it is going to give a clockwise rotation. So let us consider clockwise to be positive. So PBF times the perpendicular distance x to be positive. Now we have one more force PBC, which is acting in the same direction, and there is no perpendicular distance due to PBC. So this should be equal to 0. Okay. Now this will give us the value of PBF equal to 0. So we got to know what is the value of PBF. Now if you substitute PBF, rest all we can deduce. Now the question was, we need to find what is the force acting at this particular member that we just found, considering this PBF equal to 0. If you would have considered, instead of joint A, if you have considered joint B, let us try to resolve that one as well. So if it is joint B, then there will be perpendicular distance between RA and that. Let us consider that to be x1. So that is going to be RA times x1. It is going to give clockwise rotation with respect to joint B. Next, PF, which is with respect to joint B. If you consider PF load, so the perpendicular distance is this much. Let us consider that to be x2, and this is acting from this joint, so it is acting anti-clockwise. So minus PAF times x2, this is x2, then PBF acting from that and PBC acting from that particular joint, so there is no perpendicular distance. That should be equal to 0. If you resolve this, you will get PAF, and once you get PAF, if you substitute in this particular equation, so you will get two unknowns. Resolving these two equations simultaneously, you will get PBF. So that can be the another method considering the movement at that particular joint. So this is nothing but method of section. Now what exactly this method of section is about? Now method of section, what happens here? Here method of joints will start from resolving each joint. Whereas in method of section, we will just consider a particular section AA, and with respect to that particular section, either we will consider the right hand side of the equation or the left hand side of the right hand side of the structure or the left hand side of the structure. We will resolve that particular structure using again basic equilibrium equation, considering the complete section, not just a joint. So once we try to resolve that using resolving forces vertically or resolving the forces horizontally, then considering a moment equation, if necessary, we can find what is the internal force acting at that particular member. Now what is the constraint here? Constraint here is, if you look this diagram, the previous case, the section what we consider, it is going to cut 1, 2, 3 and 4 members. So obviously we are going to get these internal forces to be external loads like PA, PB, PC, and there is one more PC. But we just have 3 equilibrium equations. Hence we cannot solve this particular section if we consider using method of sections. Now what is the constraint here? Constraint is, choose a section, okay, choose this particular section which can cut only 3 members, not more. So the section has to be cut only 3 members, and also either there has to be an external load acting, in this particular case W, an external load has to be considered, or a reaction force which is an external has to be there. You cannot have any section without having any of the external loads. That is the first case. It has to cut 3 members maximum, okay, not more than that. If it is more than that, just like this, these equations are not sufficient. The structure is going to be indeterminate, which cannot be resolved using equilibrium equations. So choose a section which can cut maximum. See here, this is 1, this is 1, and this is the third one. So these are the 3 members which this section cuts. Whereas here we have one section here, this is one member, second member, this is a third member, and this is a fourth member. And this is a section which cuts 4 members. So 4 unknowns are not solved using these 3 equations. So that will be a problem. So please remember, the section has to cut maximum 3 members, not more than 3. It can have less than 3, but not more than 3. That's the first thing. Second thing, it has to have one external load, either this support or this. It has to have at least one external load or external force acting on that. It can be reaction or it can be external load. That is the second thing. Third thing, it is not necessary that the section has to be a straight line, which means you can have a section like this, which is not a straight line. So you are considering respect to this section. So in that, suppose if we have a structure like this, okay. Now in this particular truss problem, these are external loads W1 and W2, and these are the reactions A and B, let us say. Now because of this particular loading, if you look at this particular structure, it is going to get tension, this is going to get tension, again this will be in tension in the same direction of load, whereas this will get tension again. Now here when you look at this particular thing, it is not necessary it should go tension, it may go compression as well. This will be like, we have 2 supports, there won't be any tension and compression here, whereas here again there will be compression because it is in tension. This will undergo compression, this may undergo compression. Now why I am explaining this is, there may be any situation like internally, if you see in the member, there may be tension or there may be compression, but when you consider method of section, when you consider a section here, then whatever the internal forces are there, those are always tensile. That is the assumption we do, and making use of that assumption we resolve further. Please remember, when we consider a section which cuts the 3 members maximum, then once it cuts those members, the internal forces are considered to be external and tensile in nature. Once it is in tensile in nature, then yes, it can be resolved using method of section. Let us try to solve a small numerical on this. I hope this is clear, method of section. Let us consider a simple problem, which is a very quick problem. Let us consider a truss. On one side it is fixed, whereas on another side from this particular joint, let us say 100 kg load is applied. Okay, and we are interested to find the load in the member AB, which has made an angle 60 degree with horizontal member. Very simple. You are asked to find what is the internal load at this particular member AB when there is a load acted at this particular joint here, which is at free end, whereas the complete structure is fixed from this end. Now in this particular problem, if you use, see, you can use method of joint. If it is not specified to be method of section, you may use method of joints as well, but that is going to consume a lot of time. Instead of that, you may consider a section A, which is going to cut 1, 2, 3 members, not more than that. Okay, and I am interested to consider right side of the structure now. So that section is going to look like, we have one triangle, then there is one load going here, which has to be considered tensile, then one more which has to be considered tensile in nature, then this one which is again considered to be tensile in nature. That's what the section looks like. Correct? Now this angle they have given to be 60 degree. Let us define these things. Let us call this one to be T1, this one to be T2, this one to be T3, and there is one external load here which is 100 kg. Right? Now if I try to solve this problem using method of section, which I have considered using method of section, I have considered a section AA, I have considered the right side of the structure, and this is how it appears. Now resolving forces for that particular structure, resolving forces vertically. Now what all the forces we consider? Let us consider all the forces acting vertically to be positive and acting vertical is positive and downward is negative. Then minus 100, it is in kg, so convert that into newtons. So this is 100 times 9.81, so that is acting downwards. T3 and T1 are acting horizontal, so we cannot consider those things, whereas we have one more force which is acting or inclined towards vertical, that is positive T2, but it has made some angles here 60 degrees, so it is sine 60 should be equal to 0. Okay. Now let us consider the next equation. See, I am just telling you the method, whereas this equation will give you solution for this particular problem, but still let us consider resolving forces horizontally. What will be the equation looks like? In that case, this 100 kg we cannot consider, whereas if the force is acting on the left side, if I consider that to be positive, and if it is acting on the right side, then it has to be negative. In that case, T1 positive acting towards left, plus T3 acting negative, again plus, then plus T2 which is inclined towards left side only, so it is T2 times, it will be cos 60, which should be equal to 0. Now if you look at this equation, when we resolve horizontally, T1 unknown, T1 is unknown, T3 is unknown, T2 is unknown. So all the three are unknown. So no output from this particular equation. Whereas if you resolve vertically, we have one known load 100 kgs plus T2, which is considered to be tensile and acting or inclined towards vertical, so it will be T2 sine 60. So if you resolve this, T2 will be equal to 981 divided by sine 60. So you will get T2 to be approximately 1130 newtons, and that is nothing but P as per the diagram, that is PBA or PAB. That's so simple. Instead of going with the joint this one, then resolve joint this, then go to joint this one, then try to find, it's time consuming. But here we have assumed all the loads to be tensile in nature. It is going towards this section, so it is behaving on that particular member to be tensile. If you consider on this side equation, it has to be in opposite direction, so that will be tensile. Okay, and why I have considered this particular section? Because I have one load here, known load. In this particular truss, it will be very difficult to find what is the reactions here. That will be very difficult, so I have considered the simpler one, right hand side, where the external load is known, so I can resolve further. Okay, what happens if we don't consider external loads? We cannot resolve further this particular case. We don't know anything, we don't have any external loads, so this will become ideal equation until some external loads comes and helps to find this particular equation. I hope this is clear. Method of section is very simple, but you should keep in your mind where to consider method of section. It has to cut that member where you are interested to find the load. Very important. It has to cut the member which is interested to find. First thing. Second, it has to cut maximum 3 members. 1, 2, 3, not more than 3. Why? If it is more than 3, equations are not there to solve. We have maximum 3 equations, and 3 equations will help us to find only 3 unknowns, not more than that. So that is going to be 3 members maximum it can cut. Then, not necessary it should be straight line, it can be curve. That is fine. Then, once it cut, the section what we are going to consider, the load acting from those sections will be considered to be tensile only, not compressive. They are considered to be tensile. Then using the equilibrium equations, here I have considered 2 equilibrium equations, the third one is going to be momentum. Using these 3 equations, now if I resolve, considering if the force is acting towards left is positive and right is negative, I will get this equation. And if the force is acting downward is negative, if it is acting upward is positive, I will get this equation. It again depends, you can change that one. And once you do that, you will get the load acting on that particular member. Means in just 3 steps, you can deduce using method of sections. If it was a method of joints, 2 steps here, 2 steps here, and 2 steps here, so it is going to be almost 6 to 7 steps. So it is time consuming. So I hope this is clear, method of section, and this is just a simple numerical. Okay. And if there are anything to know more on this particular, you can go through the textbook which are prescribed in the syllabus to have a more solved problems. In the next class, we will continue with the next module, 5th module related to energy methods. I hope this is clear. Thank you.